And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. I am your host, Brian Barnaby, and Tony is back in town. Missed you yesterday, bud.
I know. I was out of town yesterday, man.
So you're back in.
Let's
Good
go.
to have you.
Well, he was here, though, technically.
Dude, no one believes
What do you
you, bro.
mean?
You're a fibber.
We had
You're a fibber.
everyone
Everyone knew that was
fooled.
you, dude.
Oh,
Come
you were
on,
hiding out at the
bro.
house, huh?
No one could be me, man. No one could be me.
And as always, our super producer, Mike, what's going on, man?
Hello, world.
Oh, God.
And he's back. Gino joins us via FaceTime. What's up, Gino? Been a while.
Oh, we're back, baby. We're back. Excited.
Gino's back.
Happy.
Gino's back. Gino's back. Gino's back.
And
So happy.
you know, the way things are going, we definitely could use some good news. So nice to have Gino back before we start talking in the world of Major League Baseball.
Giving chase at Judge, and he dives into the stand.
DeGrom begins the season with an overpowering strikeout of Ronald Acuna.
The wall is gone! Three-run home run! What's going on here? I love it. He drives one to the moon. High, deep, and very gone.
So
good
Gino's face. He's so surprised. I know you haven't been here.
This show is taken off since I've gotten here, since I've left. Jesus, we got animations. We've got an open. This is crazy.
you know, the show's
So
taken
it's
off,
madness, Tony.
but unfortunately the Yankees haven't. So, you know, after last weekend, I was feeling all right. You know, still had a lot to work on, but you won 3 out of 4. So, you know, I was happy with that. The Orioles, we're playing the Orioles. I was happy about that. Figured, you know, good opportunity facing, you know, Matt Harvey. So I'm thinking, I mean, this has got to be a smash spot. We always hit well in Camden Yards. And previously, up until the end of last year, we had won 18 in a row against the Orioles before losing 3 straight at the end of the year. And last night, you know, continue that trend. And I mean, so many places to go. The first, I will have to give credit where credit is due. The Yankees obviously helped him out tremendously, you know, barely getting any hits. But Harvey's stuff, you know, for what we expect out of him, looked pretty good. He was hitting 95 on the gun.
Unbelievable, dude. I can't believe
I called
honestly. You would never think
I
that
did.
I would
I
ever
knew
hear
it.
the sentence that Harvey shuts out the Yankees.
I knew it.
Yeah, I
But
think they had 1 hit
especially
through
now.
5 or
Yeah.
at least 4. You know, and then
I
at
did.
the end, you know, before he goes out there, he lets up the back-to-back doubles to
Mhm.
Judge and Stanton. So they get the 1 run, but I thought that was just embarrassing because you looked at his previous starts, barely making it through 5 innings, you know,
Right.
giving up a ton of hits. And, you know, for a team that's struggling, this is their ballpark. This is a good pitcher to no.
You would think
No.
it'd kind of kickstart their
Nothing.
offense a little bit. No, yeah,
Nothing.
not at
So
all, dude.
they waste another opportunity, you know, to kind of get back on track here. Fall to the Orioles 4-2. So now this is their 4th straight loss at Camden Yards. Really can't believe I'm saying that. And you know, Aaron Boone gets ejected in the 8th inning. And listen, I mean, this was a crazy sequence. They should have been able to challenge. The run should have counted. But besides all of that, I mean, it's the 8th inning. You should have just challenged right away anyway. I don't know what the debate was. And that kind of, you know, before we even just get into specific players in this game, I'm just done with Boone. I'm really so sick of it, okay? And I understand. I get it. The players play the game. But what has this guy done since he took over for Joe Girardi in 2018 to prove that he's the right guy for the job and he elevates his team? I don't think he adds anything to this team.
No, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more at this point. Like, what is he doing? And I honestly, I would be surprised if after this year they start thinking about moving on, dude.
They should, but there's just this sentiment that I get that they love the harmony between him and the front office. And it's like, I don't care if Hal, him, and Cashman get together every Friday night, have a couple Jack and Cokes and talk about everything. That doesn't matter. This guy was an announcer, okay? I get it. He hit a big home run for the Yankees almost 20 years ago, but it just doesn't mean that he's qualified to be a manager. And I'm just so tired of the vanilla attitude, the way that he talks to the press after every game. Yeah, the guys look great, you know. I think I'm just sick of it, dude. And I just don't think he deserves to be the manager. Why does he need to be the manager? And I also think if George Steinbrenner was still alive, he would have been fired 2 years ago because he hasn't proven one damn thing.
Yeah, I'll add to that before we go to Dino. If the old owner was here, the OG, Cashman would be gone too 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And just before we get into the game, Gino, just your thoughts specifically on Boone. And like I said, the players aren't stepping up right now, but just in the fact of why does he deserve to be the manager? Go.
Well, I have a question for you before we go back to the double box, Mike. I have a question for Barnes.
Oh, this guy's producing from his house now.
Look at this guy.
Who do you think who do you think is actually managing the team? Do you think Aaron Boone is actually managing the team?
So I think, of course, there's a lot of front office influence, but that lies the problem right there. You know what I mean? Like, why?
Exactly, that's the thing. This is not right now. Yeah, well, that's the thing. So Aaron Boone is the scapegoat for everything, and that was the plan from the beginning. Brian Cashman was going to run the team. He was going to do what he wanted to do. I have it. I've talked to some people, sources recently, who have told me that the Yankees have gone to fully relying on analytics. So when you go to fully relying on analytics or mostly relying on analytics, the manager's job is to do exactly what he's doing, is to go out there and be a pep rally guy and be like, hey. Go ahead.
I guess the question would be, where do the analytics show that Devi Garcia, should only pitch 4 innings when he hasn't pitched all season, only throw 65 pitches?
And they're going to send him down. I don't know.
And that Rudin Odor should be the cleanup hitter when he's batting 159. Show me some analytics on that. I mean, it just seems like the whole game plan here is just in disarray, and it just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they know. I think that's the problem. The analytics have failed them severely in the first 20 games of the season, and they don't know what to do. And that's, again, to your point, Barnes, is why you need a manager who actually knows how to manage a game so that you can put a team together that actually, like when Roughneck Odor was the cleanup hitter the first game they did it, I was like, I don't even know. And this was like 2 days after I got back. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, why is this player here? But they've become entirely dependent, and I've had the same conversation with other people who have said this to me, and I'll relay it to you guys. Some of other people I've talked to said that they've become entirely dependent on being the Tampa Bay Rays. They don't want to spend money. They want to do the analytics thing. They want to use the opener. They want to put Davy Garcia out there for 4 innings, even though he's doing. If it was going to be a throwaway game, throw the game away. Let him pitch 100 pitches. Let him get lit up, and then send him back down, because that's what they did anyway. It was pointless.
It's so conservative, and it's just like, okay, this heavy analytics approach has been going on. Probably, right. I mean, at the very least, it started before this, but at least when Boone came in. And I just think even if you are also going with an analytics approach, I also think the way Girardi did versus Boone, he doesn't hold the players accountable. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to yell at the umpire and get ejected, but is he down the guy's throats like Girardi was down Sanchez's throat for being lazy behind the plate?
Right.
In fairness, Glaber, he did call out Glaber the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, the only thing I've seen. And then, I think in general, the guys get too long of a leash. Like Hicks at this point, like, should have been sent to the alternate site if that was even possible, because he looks out there.
Well, it's because he's trying to actually hit the ball as opposed to just standing there and taking pitches for 40.
He walks.
That's all he does. His on base percentage is 400 probably every season. His hitting average is like 250. It's ridiculous.
So I just hope, that this is just a wake up call, and they can just switch some things around. And I think whether it's or not,
we're going to get the game going a little bit, though, right? We're going to actually talk about, because I want to talk about the 8th inning and the fact that Judge is just mind-blowingly stupid for trying to get a third.
one thing I would just like to add here, well, really two things, quick, and then we'll move on. So the first is, I think if Steinbrenner was here, the first call that he would make would be actually, and I know this sounds insane, but on an interim basis, I think he would honestly call Joe Torre. I'm not even kidding.
No shit.
Just because they need that type of leadership. And that speaks to my next point where, okay, I know that's unrealistic. I'm sure at this point he doesn't want to do a managing job. But my next thing would be, I want to see this coaching staff filled with guys from that late 90s run, early 2000s, and a guy that, if he was interested, and I think he has some advisor role with the Marlins, is Jorge Posada. I think honestly would be a perfect manager, and they just need that attitude. And I think, analytics aside, they need that winning attitude, that hungry attitude, and I don't think they have that right now.
Yeah, not at all, dude. I mean, honestly, I think Barnes should be hired for the front office. I've been saying that for I think a few episodes now, but they should.
But before we get to game specifics, I mean, any thoughts on that, Gino?
On that, no. I think I don't know. I think if you're going down the Jorge Posada road, I think you might be going down the Boone road again, just because he has no managerial experience. I feel like if you're in that situation, I feel like we got to go back to experience, but it's also going back to the Boone thing. They hired Boone because they had a bunch of young guys and they wanted to get a player's coach in there. That was another thing. They wanted to get Girardi was too hard on these guys, and they were like, they didn't want to have that, the whole thing. So, that's why they hired Boone. And really Boone is like doing his job description to exactly what he was told to do, probably. But at a point, it's just like, you have to blame somebody, and that's why Boone he's the scapegoat for this whole situation. Because listen, how Brian Cashman has sculpted this team, I've been aggravated at it for the last 2 years. So the fact that there's no contact bats, and we're starting to see it more and more. And granted, listen, this isn't the first time we've had a bad start to the season. It's not the first time the Yankees have had a bad start.
It's the first time it's been this bad in over almost 30 years. So I mean,
but
wow.
Yes, exactly. Well, and this is what I'll say to that point is that, the Yankees started 10-10 last year or 2 years ago, whatever, but they were hitting the ball. Like there was promise there. You could see it. Mm-hmm. This year, it's just like there's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing. And I don't know, they've taken a lot of balls down the middle of the plate. Apparently they're just all taking the Aaron Hicks approach. Aaron Hicks apparently gave that up, and now everybody else is trying to be Aaron Hicks and just get on base. And that's great when you're in a slump, but you swing the bat. Like they're spitting on these changeups over the middle of the plate. The fastballs down the middle of the plate. They've had pitches to hit. They have no idea what they're doing at the plate right now. No idea.
They all do it, but I feel like more times than not, I see Stanton swing through, 93, 94 fastballs mid up, not full up in the zone.
He did yesterday. He just missed one yesterday when they did 2 on. I think he just missed one yesterday. So it's crazy. I don't understand. I don't know how to fix it is the problem, which is, I mean, I shouldn't know how to fix it, but it doesn't look like Aaron Boone or the front office knows how to fix it either.
Yeah. Like it reminds me of like when I was playing Babe Ruth, going through a tough time, and my coach goes up to me and goes, "Hey, Barnaby, you're missing the ball by this much." That's what it looks like right now. I swear to God. I'm not kidding. So, I just can't take it, and then you just look, besides, okay, so, what you were saying in regards to the 8th inning, Judge taking extra base, I think it made a perfect throw, and it might have been a little too risky. You want to continue the rally, and I think they honestly might have been able to continue that rally and possibly win the game. But at the same time, they should have already had 6 runs by that point.
Yeah, true.
No, I get that. But it speaks to what you were saying about Boone too. The fact that these guys like that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't happen. Like Aaron Boone, if he stays on second, there's 2 outs, right? So he's going to score from second on a single, or he's going to score from third on the he's going to score from either position on a single, unless it's like a really hard hit single that's like but. Like you can't go to third. You cannot. You just can't. In my opinion, you can't go to third. You can't make the third out of third. It's way too risky, especially in the situation that the team's in right now. So,
Yeah, and it completely killed the momentum. I think they went down 1-2-3 in the ninth after that. And I thought they were just on their way. It just seemed like they had hit their groove. They had, strung together a couple good at-bats, a couple hits. And Gino, any thoughts on Matt was just commenting saying that Boone could star in the Muppets movie. Any thoughts on that?
That might be going a little too far, but I mean, who knows? Maybe in a few years.
But and so I mean, it was frustrating. I guess it wasn't obviously a good decision, on the bases by Judge. But like I said, I don't think it should have came down to that.
Right. No,
and
for
then
sure.
I can't believe I'm looking. It's 22 games through the season. We're almost in May, and I'm looking at team stats, and that the Yankees as a team are hitting 203 with a 348 slugging percentage. I mean, are you kidding?
Horrific.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's, in years past, it's been leaving runners on base. They're not even getting on base at this point. Like I was listening to the Talking Yanks podcast, I think, and they were saying like the barrel rate of the Yanks and like the hard hit ball rate of the Yanks is like they're making poor contact more than any other team in the major leagues, I think. And that's just not the Yankees. That's just not the Yankees. And so, or the Yankees that we've been used to seeing, but also at a point, it's like it was going to get to this point eventually. We have a bunch of boomer bust guys on the team, a bunch of guys who hit for power or strike out a lot. Like it was going to get to this point. I've been screaming this from the rooftops for like 3 years now that we need more contact bats in the lineup. And nobody's making contact in general, but maybe a couple. I mean, even DJ's playing awful. Like he's not playing well at all, but or at least at the plate. But it just feels like still need those guys who know how to situationally hit, and we don't have any of that.
I have been talking about this, since you were last on. I think the last couple of seasons he masked a lot of those issues because he just came through every single time. So we didn't think about this stuff as much, and now that basically haven't done it one time this season, you're really seeing what they're missing from the past couple of years.
Absolutely. 100%. Totally agree.
So, it's just everywhere you look at offensively, the numbers are bad, but I guess the one thing I would say is, I think they're pretty frustrated the way last night went and a little embarrassed. You could tell, Judge in the interview after the game, he looked pretty tight and just, they're asking him questions just about, is it just pressing and this and that. So I think they're motivated and you look at tonight, they're facing Bruce Zimmerman. So we had Matt Harvey, miraculously have a good game. If you can't hit Bruce Zimmerman, just go home. I swear to God, just go home. I'm not kidding. Any thoughts there?
Dude, honestly, bro, I think they're gonna have to go home on this one, dude. Honestly, really can't see the Yankees pulling a W out of this game. They have no bats. I feel like anything other than Garrett Cole on the mound, like they're gonna have their starters suck.
They're done for.
They're done for, dude. Yeah, so
I have to defend my boy Jordan Montgomery. I love Jordan Montgomery. He has like three of his 4 starts. He's gone to the 6th inning. So Jordan has been good.
Decent start. Yeah, he hasn't been bad. He's probably been the second most reliable guy. But Kluber has looked terrible, and I just think
again, I'm not ready to judge those guys until like 10 starts in, like 10 or 11 starts in, because they like those guys haven't pitched in Jameson hasn't pitched in 2 years, and Kluber hasn't pitched in a full year. So I would imagine they're still working through stuff, right?
Yeah, but the one thing though, I just feel like, if you have talent, you have stuff, you see it. And I think with Taillon, we see a live fastball up in the zone, a good curveball. With Kluber, I have not seen literally one good thing out of him this season.
In fairness, I haven't seen Kluber pitch that much. I've only seen Taillon. So, and I know, like you said, Taillon's had in his 2 starts, the last start and his first start, he had good stretches where he looked good, and then he just left the fastball high in the zone, or he just pitched the ball like in a bad spot, and then kind of that was it for him. So there's a lot of good from Taillon. I haven't seen Kluber pitch too much, so I can't really give you the logistics of that. So you know better on that. But at least from Tyone, like you said, it's at least there's something there to like build on.
And I mean, just with Kluber, I mean, it's, he nibbles around the strike zone. He's walking, the whole lineup, and he's hitting 90, 91, and he's not getting through 5 innings. And it's just like, how many times do we need to see this? And I just I know they're not going to do it, and it might be just overboard, but just as like a wake up call to the team, I would love to see if he, does what he's done in every start this season tonight. Tomorrow, wake up that they designated him for assignment, and just to show the team, like, you can't just keep going out here expecting that you're going to have your spot and you're not going to perform. And I think a guy who needs that wake up call is Gary Sanchez. I thought he looked good to start the season. He looks terrible at the plate, just completely lost, and I don't know what, you know what I mean, like what they expect.
Doesn't have a pass ball though this year, which is good. His defense has been better.
I don't know. It's just he can't hit. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, bad point. I mean,
I agree. Also, Higgy's been really good defensively and at the plate. So
he's maybe their most impressive player.
Yeah, exactly. So
the only player.
Yeah.
So
do you regret not trading Judge?
No,
dude.
I mean,
do you know who you're asking that question to?
Please. It's just like, listen, I get it, but I just think end of the season, Judge's numbers will be there. I'm not really so much worried about him as I'm worried about every single other part of the offense.
This is the other thing we haven't talked. I haven't been here to talk about this, and I know we talked about it when we were at the beginning of the season, before the season, I think. Thankfully, the analytics decided to rip up the page that said Judge has to hit in the 2 role every single game.
Oh,
that's fun. I really enjoyed that, because I like, literally, that guy could bat 188 last year and he would have hit 2 every single game. Wouldn't have mattered.
Yep.
It was ridiculous.
I like that move, but I don't like that we've seen Gardy leading off, batting 3rd. I mean, what the heck is that?
Again, I think they're at the point of they have no idea what they're doing. Like they're like hoping that something works. So
I just what I really just hope for in general, just with baseball, is that one team just gets so fed up with this analytics garbage and just completely throws it out the window. Yeah, and then some other teams can follow suit. And I think nobody wants to be the first team.
Well, I feel like the Yankees should be. Yeah, dude.
Well, don't you? I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Dodgers have kind of done that. The Dodgers have gotten their guys. They went out. They spent a ton of money. They bring in. They went out. They got relievers. It doesn't feel like they're doing analytics thing. It feels like they're going out there and they're getting players that are good and they're putting them on the team and they're performing well. Like, it doesn't feel like
they're not.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know, but it feels like the Dodgers are doing that more than anyone else.
But do you feel, and just before we move on here, that a big problem too, just with this, is like they don't want to like give up on this strategy, and they can't just admit defeat that it's just failed them.
100%. It's the Yankees. They refuse to admit anything that they did wrong. So it's 100% they don't want to admit it.
And I just like I just can't hear
millions of dollars into that analytics department.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much money in that. They can't give up now.
Scouting and player development, fuck the analytics, and it's just like I literally just can't hear Boone break down the game after the game. Like, it's just like how do they not realize every time they put him out there with his same routine about how everyone looks so great, everyone is so mad hearing that, fans. It's like the last thing you want to friggin' hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, I mean, look at the teams who have won the World Series. How many of them are really heavy on analytics? The Rays got to the World Series, but did they win it? No, because Kevin Cash was like, oh, analytics, let's take out Blake Snell right now. You know?
Right.
So it's, you know, if you can show me a team that's heavy on analytics that's won the World Series, sure, but I don't think there's been one yet. And it's they won't give up on it. They won't, but
I mean, it's so.
But at what
brutal.
point do you, though? You know, like, what is it going to take? Like, do we?
Well, I mean, we're getting close to when they should, because the fans are not happy. But they won't 2-3 more years.
and like we have to go 60 and 100 this year for them to change their mind. It's like just enough already.
Yeah, but I mean, we've spent enough time talking about this. Let's let Tony talk about the Mets or whatever he wants to talk about.
Finally, dude.
So the Mets, after a well-deserved day off, return to action tonight. They do start a 2-game set with the Boston Red Sox, and you'll be able to watch this game 7:10 WPIX. Kind of nice getting the local guys involved.
Yeah,
right? Channel
dude.
11. So, and we have quite the pitching matchup. Garrett Richards versus the one and only David Cy Young Peterson on the hill tonight. And I'm going to just leave it right there. Break it down for me and also let me know, what do you want to see out of the Mets tonight in their Cy Young Award-winning candidate?
I mean, we talk about him a lot. I think a W here is going to start with Peterson on the mound. I mean, I'm looking for another, like that second outing he had against Phillies. He had 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. He got a little beat up since then, but I mean, I want to see him improve on his slider. He struggled with location. Last year, his slider was a devastating pitch. I think his opponents batted 119 against him when he was throwing his slider. I want to see his location on that. I think as long as he starts out like coming out of the gate hot, sets the tone.
Right.
I think our bullpen has been great. Castro has been almost like a godsend at the mound for us. And on top of that, our bats have been pretty decent. Alonso's kind of been hitting pretty well. And I think as far as Garrett Richards comes along, I think his last outing, he got roughed up. He had 4 earned against him, 4 hits and 6 walks in just 4 2/3 innings against the Blue Jays. And he allowed his career worst, I think 47% hard hit rate. So I think, the Mets with the bats we have, I think we'll be able to do well against him. I would like to see Lindor kind of, make a little bit more of a mark here. I think he's batting like 200. He has 1 home run on the year here.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have 5 or 6 homers this year.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Max 7. I don't want him to try too hard now. But I think it's very doable. I know the Red Sox have been doing pretty well, but I think this is a very winnable game right now. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I think because it's their offense, the Mets has definitely been a lot better than what we've seen out of the Yankees this season. They're actually hitting 40.
Let's just start talking about the Yankees again,
but
guys.
Dude, 40 points higher on the average. I mean that's kind of insane.
That is great, dude.
Yeah,
you love to see that.
But I do think do you feel that the games where they produce enough offense to win is where the pitcher kind of sets the tone early and doesn't give up those couple of runs in the first inning? Because I feel like that kind of is a trickle-down effect.
Oh, of course. I mean, watching your pitcher give up 3 or 4 runs in the first inning, I mean, that's it's devastating, dude. You don't want to, start the game essentially 4 runs down, So, but yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's going to start with Peterson. He comes out hot, like I think our bats will be there, and we're gonna win.
It's kind of funny, and you look at it, who's got off to the best start, and it's not the guys that you would think in the lineup. Like if you think this lineup, you think Lindor,
right?
You think Alonso, but actually leading the team right now, Nimmo and I don't know why right? And Davis is hitting over.
Oh yeah, JD Davis as well. Yeah, I think it's his birthday today. I think.
Wait, I have a question. I have a question for Tony. Tony, did you see that Jed Lowry hit another home run the other day?
Nah, dude, I missed that one.
He played for you guys, right? He was a significant part.
Yeah. I think for a little bit, he did really well with us.
He made some good money off of us.
Yeah. Love that guy.
Just in terms of this matchup, I mean, the Red Sox offense has been super good all year, and obviously.
This day and age, that's really good.
Yeah, we talked about before the season that we weren't sure if the offense was going to be there, and we knew the pitching wasn't going to be there. But their offense has been phenomenal. So the pitching hasn't really been a story. So they've been really good this season. I mean, I think they've been one of the bigger surprises of the baseball season, and I think it'll be a tough game for Peterson, like you said, Tony. He's got to have a good start. Or else I think this Red Sox team can jump on him.
Yeah, and how about JD Martinez, a guy that, has been strong, but kind of seemed like he was tailing off. I mean, he's hitting 370 with 7 homers.
Yeah. I mean, he's been phenomenal, but he has to be the guy there.
Right.
Also, just shout out to our buddy JJ. He commented. He said GQ, Gino, and Tony are back. He also said to give Lindor some time, give him till the summer, and he'll hit his stride. So
I don't think Tony has time.
No, I do not have time. I'm an impatient man. Okay.
No, very. He's very, very impatient.
And I had mentioned this, when you weren't on the show, Gino. But I mean, I feel like we see this all the time. The big acquisition with the big contract getting off to a slow start.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the same comments about DJ. I mean, he just got paid too. But you see it all the time. I think the problem is there's heavy these guys want these big contracts, but there's heavy expectations that come with those big contracts. Once you finally get it, you're like, oh damn, I have to live up to that. And I think that some of that pressure tends to weigh on guys, at least at the beginning. But hopefully, listen, as much as we're Yankees fans, I want to see Lindor pop off and be good for the Mets. Like, I think it would be fun to watch him just really be good and kind of share some of that swagger that we're seeing from, Tatis over in San Diego, or some of the swagger he had in Cleveland. So I think it would be fun to see him pop off, but right now he's got some work to do. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'd say so. But honestly, I mean, it's one of those things. Of course, you never know. But I mean, if I had to give a percentage on it, I mean, I'm 98% confident he's going to be the guy that they expect him to be.
Yeah, man. And it's not like, I mean, he's not like struggling terribly, and it's not like he has a bad attitude about it. I mean, he's still Mr. Smile over there. He's having a good time. He's optimistic. Like, he's fine.
He's making plays in the field too, right? He's like defensively pretty solid.
Yeah, for the most part. He's had a couple lazy plays, I suppose, but I mean, the Mets defense has been a little lacking.
I think he has over 10 turnovers.
10 turnovers?
10 turnovers.
He just, can't hold on to the ball. Terrible dribbler. Terrible dribbler.
And then before we, move on from baseball here, just a couple kind of general notes. I just like to, first I'll start with this because I've talked about everyone else with this, Gino. What is your opinion on a jinx? Do you believe there is such thing as a jinx? I would love to hear your opinion.
It's like for a perfect game?
No, so basically, let's say
all right,
no, go ahead, Mike. I got
you. Yeah, see, Mike.
Basically, Matt says that Barnes over there, our buddy Barnes, is Eddie Mush from what movie?
A Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale. Jinx, he jinxes everything. Whenever he talks about the Yankees, for example, Matt thinks that he jinxes them, and that's why they
like he's basically saying, like, let's say the Yankees are playing and Judge hits a home run the first, and I text him, yo, that was so sick. Did the Yankees look like back tonight or whatever? And then they lose the game. They lost the game because I sent the text.
Okay, I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm like the most superstitious person in the world. I'll wear the same jersey every day, the same underwear. I'll wear my hat. I literally, for the Yankees game 5 against Cleveland, way back, I was literally, I would knock on the, I like did it once. Like I did something once when Brett Gardner had took a ball, and I just started doing it over and over and over again. And he walked, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. I did it. I was like, I'm the worst person to ask about that.
Yeah, no, and I respect it. I guess
you don't.
Don't lie.
The reason why that I said there's a difference between respecting and agreeing. Okay, and I guess the two things that come to mind, and we're gonna move on here, but is that one? Okay, if you're that good, you're a championship team. There's no such thing as a jinx because you just win. So if you want to blame a jinx, how about just be better? Number one. And then number 2, I always just say, so you're going to say that something happened in this game because of something that I did when this player has no idea that I even exist?
Dude,
I can't make a comment like that.
Oh, I'm not saying it's rational by any means or any stretch of the imagination. It is completely irrational. But I promise you, if I will go to the point where if I watch a game that after having watched it for a while and they've been winning and then they lose, like I won't watch a game. Like I won't watch a game again until they win or until they lose again without me watching. Like I'm the worst. I am the absolute worst.
I mean, that's interesting intel from Gino. So, and then one other quick point here for baseball. We didn't get to talk about it yet. Thoughts on the Bumgarner no-hitter not counting because it was 7 innings.
Oh, yeah, I don't understand. The guy went out there, he pitched 7 no-hit inning. He pitched a full game, a complete game, and he no-hit the team for the complete game. Like, I don't understand. Like, if a guy pitches 7 innings and then the relief pitcher comes in and gets the last 2 innings of no-hit ball, it's still a no-hitter for that guy who pitched 7 innings.
Right.
So, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. I've heard the argument for the other side, which is like, oh, like you're disrespecting the however many pitchers before him who've pitched 9 innings and got
that, but it's not his fault that he had to pitch in a 7-inning doubleheader.
Hey, like he's just doing what they're telling him to do. Yeah. He's pitching 7 innings because those are the rules for doubleheaders now. Right now,
we say this with baseball all the time. They make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. Exactly. Everyone knows the easy thing to do is count it as a no-hitter,
right?
Put the little asterisk next to it saying that it was 7 innings. And that's it. But they have to stick their chest out and just do something stupid like this. It just doesn't make sense.
If he went out there and pitched the first 2 innings of that next game, would have counted. And he got no hits. It adds up to 9 innings. It should be 9 innings. It's a no-hitter.
If they don't want this problem, how about let's not have 7-inning games to begin with? 8 game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why Major League Soccer is more important and more watched in the U.S. than the Yankee games.
You missed a good one the other day. Someone commented saying that the MLS is going to be bigger than Major League Baseball, and I couldn't take it. So
I was
just basically lost. Saying, this guy's talking about MLS.
I was saying for that to happen, I said you got to give it 30, 40, 50, and not even that, and it's still not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't even want to. Like recently, honestly, if I'll be honest with you, last year with the way the game was going and how like rough it was and how they just weren't attracting any youth people, I would probably lean more towards the possibility, like the slim possibility that might happen. But they've gotten ratings like through the roof to begin the season in the Major League Baseball. So, I mean, they're getting kids to watch the game. They're getting people to watch the game. So, I mean, listen, I love soccer more than anything else. But I don't MLS
anything else more than your wife.
Well, that would probably be anyone
more than
else.
Any other sporting event or sports.
There you go.
But the thing is, like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been that ridiculous to say like the World Cup, the Premier League, but to say that MLS is going to be ahead, that's a little nuts.
Here's the thing though with the MLS, and we'll keep it short. It's finally starting to be what it's supposed to be, a development league for young and up and coming talent. Like that's all it should have ever been, and then they just sell those players to good teams. But I mean, it will be, I think it'll get to the point where it's not a conversation of, oh, the top 4 sports or here are the 4 sports in America. I think the MLS will get to the point where it is included in like it's like, oh, like the 5 major sports in America. But I don't think it'll ever get to a point where it's like dueling with the top sports and all that.
You're making Bart.
His face is red.
His face is getting red. Just listening.
But I think it'll be in the conversation as one of the top sports, like in short time if things move in the right direction. Of course, we've talked about this off air. I think that it obviously relies on the United States playing well in the World Cup, but it's never going to get to the point where it's like overpaid. It'll just be like, oh, hey, here's the top 4, and then here's also the MLS who's getting good ratings.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Hey,
sure.
We'll see what happens.
Listen, as a soccer fan, I hope it takes over all the sports.
And moving on here to Tony's favorite sport.
Yes,
dude,
the National Basketball Association.
The Bulls LeBron James at the buzzer. He banks in the 3, and the Lakers win the game.
So
Gino's just shocked. Look at him. He's speechless.
Oh, that's right. He hasn't seen either.
It's lovely. It's amazing.
Thank you.
But last night we had another interesting night in the NBA, and we will start with the Knicks falling. The streak is over. They fall to the Suns, 118-110, and this is after leading by 7 at halftime, but they just weren't able to keep up with them down the stretch. Booker drops 33, Bridges added 21. Paul added 25 and 6, and the Suns, shot it well from 3-point range, 14-34. So this actually snaps their 2-game losing streak. And like I mentioned, the Knicks 9-game winning streak and 8-game home winning streak comes to an end. And they saw, their top guys, Randall and Barrett, struggle with efficiency. D Rose did have a nice game though, 22, 6 and 6. And before I get to Mike's take here, Nerlens went back to being nervous.
Oh my
4
God,
points,
dude.
3 boards, 0
Guy has
blocks.
one bad game
for
all
the
season.
best backup center in the NBA.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, well, what I got is just a tired Randall. Okay, I got 3 lucky shots by Chris Paul. Just saying.
MVP of the league, bro. Come on.
After this, yeah, I mean, maybe, honestly, he's been my guy. So after that performance against the second best team in the game behind the Nets,
is Aaron Boone giving this analysis, or is this Mike?
No, but it was a tough game. Booker looked good, and Randall didn't. I mean that's that. Randall looked tired. He wasn't as aggressive as you'd want him to be, and then Barrett didn't pick it up. D Rose and Chris Paul. I mean, it looked like it was 2011 out there. And thank you, Gino. I love when Gino's here. He laughs at a lot of my jokes. See, Barnes just doesn't.
Anything for
Well,
you.
for me to laugh, I mean, it has to be funny. I mean,
Bazinga bazow. But yeah,
Bazinga what, dude?
Bazinga bazow.
Bazinga bazow.
You like that?
No,
Why?
because it was stupid.
Don't think so. But yeah, this is just. I actually am glad they lost this game because now they can get it out of the way. They lost.
gear up for Brooklyn.
Gear up for Brooklyn and show them who's the best team in New York.
Gino, what were your thoughts on the way this one went?
And the Knicks streak in general, bud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, because I haven't been here basically for the entire streak, so I guess I kind of jinxed you guys when I got back in the country. There you go. You like that, Barnes?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Barnes didn't like that at all.
No,
there he is. I want people to think he's all angry and stuff all the
No,
time.
he was laughing.
I know. I had to show him.
I'm like, what he does at your joke?
Well, with people on YouTube have been commenting that why is Barnes so angry? all the
Wait,
time?
no.
Why is he so?
No way.
Yeah, like
Really?
why doesn't he
It's been out there.
smile?
It's been
Really?
floating around.
You sure it wasn't Brian Adam commenting? Why is that?
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, I think the streak was going to end at some point, and it's not like they went down in like embarrassing fashion to this good Suns team. Like the Suns team is not a bad team. It took
Shot. That was lucky though. You have to admit that.
No, yeah, I mean, listen, the Paul shots, things happen.
The first one and the last one weren't.
That's why we play 4-game series or 7-game series, and that's why you have to win 4 games to win a 7-game series in the playoffs. Because who knows? The Knicks played well; they kept in the game. They just couldn't overcome right there the Suns team. I mean, the Knicks were, going into the fourth quarter, they were tied, right? And so it's not a knock on the Knicks. They won 9 in a row, So I mean, it was going to happen eventually. It happened against a good Suns team, and move on. And who they got next? They got the Bulls next. Oh, they got the Bulls, the Rockets. They should get 2 wins, but get back on track. They'll be fine.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah, I mean, you've been impressed by the Knicks, Tony, right?
Have I? Yeah, totally, dude.
I also the Suns were on the brink of losing. What was it? 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
So that played a factor. Chris Paul willed them to a win. I was watching Mortal Kombat while watching the game.
We were watching Mortal Kombat.
I was.
No, we both were, Mike.
You guys
Why?
are watching it together?
When?
Last night. You and I, we watched it together on the couch.
Yes, we did.
Next to each other. We shared.
Couch. Wow.
Same
Yeah,
blankie.
dude. I made Mike a bagel.
He did. It was glorious. Nothing like a Staten Island bagel.
And anyhow,
and then we had a
Don't make
very
Barnes angry.
surprising
God.
result, actually, for the second game in a row for both teams. How about the T-Wolves beat the Jazz
Russell,
105,
baby.
104. They just played on Saturday. The T-Wolves won that one. D'Angelo Russell gets the turnover at the end of the game, gets the game-winning layup. This is their third victory over the Jazz this season. I mean, we're talking two teams that couldn't be more separated. The Jazz have won 26 more games than the T-Wolves have this season. And Russell had a great game, 27 points, 12 assists, 7 of 12 from three. Towns, 21 and 11. And Anthony Edwards, while he didn't have an efficient game, 14 points, 9 rebounds. So I'll start with you here, Gino. I mean, do you feel there's any? I mean, we know Mitchell's out. That there's any reason for concern here, or do you think it's as simple as not respecting your opponent because you're so much better than them, so you slip up?
No, yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that there's good enough players to beat this T-Wolves team, but I think that Mitchell being out is obviously he's their guy. He's their go. Like we talk about this all the time. Like the Jazz don't have. As I look at their game from last night or the stats from last night, the Jazz don't have, other than Mitchell, like a real
anyone.
go-to guy. Like Jordan Clarkson comes off the bench. Like they don't have another guy who can get his own basket. They don't have another guy who can go out there and get his own points without the help of the team, or like Rudy Gobert isn't standing under there shooting 20-foot jumpers. Like it's
200.
He's so good.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, he's my favorite center. I think he's the best big in the game, maybe in the history.
I mean, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. I mean, that adds up to $200 million to me. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, you got to do math, do some division, subtraction, and addition, and then you'll get there.
Yeah, listen. I mean, we got to give.
Yeah,
we gotta give Mike Conley.
That's all right.
Oh, wow.
No, go ahead, Gino.
No, we got to give. But I was going to say is we got to give Mike Conley some credit. He did have 26 last night. Stepped up. He almost had a triple double. But I mean, they just don't have anybody else who can go out and get their own bucket when they need one. And that's when Donovan Mitchell is missed, because he's the only guy on the team that can do that. So,
and I think he's missed, but then it also kind of points to when defense really attack Mitchell in the postseason. This is why we all don't expect them to really make any noise in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, it's perfect.
Kind of remind me of the Bucks of the West.
They're the Bucks of the West. Yeah, absolutely. They don't even have a guy who can get a basket on his own on that team. That whole team is just six-man guys.
I just think I think the Jazz, they're in danger of maybe not even winning in the first round.
Same with the Bucks.
I mean, I think it should be a lock at the very least for the conference semifinals. I mean,
I wouldn't agree.
How many? Wait, that's not the second? That's the third round, right? The conference semis.
No, actually, it is the second. Yeah, because you go from 8 to 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I can get on board with that. I was about to say I don't think see them getting past the second round.
But
I hate the Bucks. Like I've said it a million times. If Giannis wants to go out there and prove me wrong, he can. He can go out and win the series in a row. But until he does that, I'm not going to believe in them. And
thank you, Gino. Thank you. No nose, Barnes. That's why I like him.
So hey, I mean, there's a lot of basketball left to be played, and we'll look at tonight's games. And we'll start with the Portland Trailblazers visiting the Indiana Pacers. So this is Portland, who's been strong all season. It just seems like the wheels have been coming off. They've actually lost 5 in a row, 8 out of 10. And Lillard, who's been strong all season, having to carry the team. He's only shooting 37% his last 7 games, and his scoring average is down 5 points per game. So I kind of think, they're a little worn out from all the heavy minutes, everyone's played this year. And obviously they made some trades, and possibly, and that, Norm Powell's been great, but they might miss Gary Trent a little bit. I think, he was a little undervalued for this team. So, I think they found themselves where they need to finish on a good stretch here. They want to avoid the play-in game. And you look at a team like the Pacers, who's been disappointing all season, but they have won 3 in a row. They currently are 9th in the East, so they're only actually 2.5 games behind 6th. So, they're in a position where they can kind of finish strong and have a chance to do something, at least, make the playoffs, get past the play-in game. And I'll start with you here, Gino. I mean, what do you see for both of these teams and how they match up?
Well, it is a big game for both teams, as you said. Obviously, the Pacers on a 3-game win streak. They get another win here, and the Hornets, lose. I don't know if they're playing tonight, but if they lose their next game, then they're tied for that 8 spot, which is great. And for the Trailblazers, it's they got to get back on track here, especially with the way they're falling. As a Mavericks fan, I am not upset that they're playing awfully, but from a neutral perspective, they need to get back on track. I'm just looking for the Pacers just at Karis LeVert's stats here since he kind of started playing again for them. I mean, he's averaging about 20 points a game. So obviously that's helping that Pacers team a lot. But I think you're right with Gary Trent Jr. I think the Trailblazers miss him a little bit, but I think the Blazers need this one more than the Pacers need it.
What are your?
I'm with him on that. The Pacers they're battling for playoff contention, and they kind of I feel like it's like reverse. Like now they're healthy, they feel like they got their whole team. Like their momentum's that way, and sadly, Portland's the other way.
You hate to see it.
I need a magical Melo playoff moment to beat the Jazz.
By the way, Mike, I pulled a Melo top shot the other day.
Wow, Grosso, he pulled a Melo top shot. He said, "Hell yeah, that's fire, dude." What Melo? Knicks, Nuggets?
No, it was Blazers. It was this year or whatever.
Oh, Blazers.
Yeah. Well, what about your guy, Malcolm Brogdon? Any change of course with him, or you're still pretty down on him, honestly?
Anyone that played in Milwaukee, I'm down.
But it's just about this. I was like, come on, he played in Milwaukee. He got to be good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just cut from that cloth of like just not being like great.
I don't know. I think, even though, Miles Turner is out, it might be for the whole season with that toe injury. I still think between Brogdon, Sabonis, and
a big loss
in a weak Eastern Conference, and they could still move up the ladder here. I don't know. I mean, I think it's not crazy that they could win a playoff series. I just think they've underperformed all season, and who knows? I mean, they could be getting hot at the right time. And I actually think that the tough times keep coming here for the Blazers, and I think the Pacers actually win this one. Call it 115, 103, and Melo pulls a 5 for 20 from the floor.
I don't know about that. Is Dame back?
Dame is back.
Yeah, so maybe not. I'm actually going to go Blazers, and they're going to rewrite the ship. They're taking it to the other side of the coast, baby, and they're going to upset the Jazz in the playoffs. Bam.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Jazz, honestly.
Yeah, so there you go.
But they got to be clicking on all cylinders. We know.
Oh, they'll be clicking.
So be interesting to see how that one plays out. And then
finally,
I know Gino's ready for this. We have the Dallas Mavericks traveling to play the Golden State Warriors.
You should call them the Golden State Curries.
And we should call them that. And Dallas, I'm sure, is ready to play after losing to the Kings last game. That's a tough one to take, especially when you're fighting to avoid that play-in game. And, I'll start with you here, Jim. I mean, what have you seen out of the Mavs of recent, and what do you want to see from him in this matchup?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have not watched a lot of Mavericks basketball because I was away. All I do know is that the Lakers lost to them 2 games in a row. Just saying. So that
yeah.
No, but the
players are better than them.
And then they followed it up by losing to the Kings.
Yesterday was not a good day for the Mavericks. They just couldn't get it going from what I didn't watch yesterday, but just following on Twitter, couldn't get it going from 3 to start off, and they just couldn't close it out at the end. But this Warriors team, I mean, obviously Steph's playing really well. The Warriors have kind of been a little bit better. They had that stretch there, right, where they were not great. But are you guys still there? I'm just seeing like movement and like sharp movements, and I'm like, is everything okay? No, but
I know coming back slowly.
This Warriors team was they have Steph, and Steph has been on fire for forever. It feels like so it's going to be a tough matchup, but as we say all the time, Luka shows up when he's got to play these games against guys who are going to show up. So I think Luka, I think Luka probably goes off tonight.
And then we saw him recently get hurt again. Are you kind of at this point a little turned off with Porzingis and everything that comes with him? Do you feel they would be better off without him going forward?
I have like a love-hate relationship with him because when he's healthy, he's so good and so important to this Mavericks team. But he gets hurt all the time. And then when he comes back, he like lacks it a little bit and kind of sucks a little bit. And then he gets back and he gets back to full health. It's like an endless cycle with him. And I hate to say this, but Dwight Powell has actually been playing pretty well. I don't know how, but he had 27 points the other night in the win over the Lakers, I think. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to think of Porzingis. It's just like an endless cycle of me being happy with him and unhappy with him. And it's just like every 3 weeks.
What are you at me for?
We'll get to our picks here, and I actually want to start with Tony on this one.
Want to start with me, dude?
Yeah. Who do you got?
I mean, just because Gino's a Mavs fan.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go the Warriors, dude. We'll have to see Gino sad, especially when it comes to sports.
60 for Curry or no?
Easily, dude.
Maybe 70.
Yeah,
breaking the record.
69 points.
But I honestly have been impressed the way the Warriors have been playing. I still think though, just without Clay, I mean, they're so shorthanded, and even with Draymond Green, getting a lot of assists and rebounding, it's just the scoring. I mean, can there be enough scoring when you just need a guy to literally drop 50 points? I mean, yeah, Wiggins has been okay, but I think for them, I mean, he's really got to be the third guy. So I just don't think they have enough scoring here. And I think Curry probably is a little fatigued from all the shots and just big minutes he's been playing. So I think actually the Mavs might blow them out here. So give it 120-100, and we'll go 35-point triple-double for Luka. What do you think?
100%. 30-point triple-double. I was actually just looking at something. Sorry to go off of that as well. Just on the Warriors, because I was looking at James Wiseman to see how he was performing. I guess he's been injured.
Torn
shows, shows how much I've been paying attention while I was away. But apparently they have they're number one in net rating, number 1 in defensive rating, and number 4 in offensive rating since his injury. So that's a little interesting tidbit for my projected rookie of the year candidate. But I think that I mean, in going back to the game and the predictions, I'm getting fibbity bibby, libbity bibbity. I'm getting. I'm gonna go with the Mavs for this one. Shocker, right? Actually, it is a shocker because I don't normally. I normally am pretty realistic with it, but Mavs.
Well, I am too going to be realistic.
What do we got?
I got a 60-point game. You think Steph's tired? No, he's just begun.
For Wardell?
He's coming for like at least the scoring title this year. So sorry, Warriors for the win.
A blowout win or
no, my friend. It'll be a duel between the two.
All right. I mean,
Wiggins and Green will have a single point triple double.
Wiggins and single point.
Thank you. I'm here every Monday to Friday. Literally.
Oh man.
Because he like 2 weeks ago, Barnes is like, Wiggins is really stepping it up recently, and I'm like, oh god.
Like I care. But I still think the same thing. And I don't know what you think, Gino. He's never gonna be the guy that he was supposed to be, but for being a third or fourth guy, he's actually had a decent season this year compared to what we've seen him out of him in the past.
Yeah, I think it's just always going to be that Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be one of the best players in the league, and he never became that.
And it's just no matter.
It's just hard to look at him and say, "Oh man, it's so great that he's like become a really good guy."
Exactly.
He was supposed to be a really good number one guy. So it's hard to say that, but I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
It's almost like a bootleg version of the Nerlens pick. Same kind of ordeal.
Nerlens is taking that.
I think Nerlens is having a better career than Wiggins.
Oh man. So hey, I mean, hopefully, it's an entertaining game tonight. We know where Tony's eyeballs will be glued to tonight.
Yeah,
looking forward to watching
WPIX, baby.
Oh man, so
good to hear your voice, Tony.
Yeah, me too, dude. Get a little dry over there, man.
Any other basketball thoughts for you, Tony? I mean,
for me,
give
dude,
it to us straight. Honestly.
I mean, it's kind of a fun game to watch, I guess. Not really. More fun to watch Mike watch it because he's really animated and he yells and stuff.
For the Knicks.
Yeah, for the Knicks. Even for, honestly, any team, I feel like you're yelling about someone.
Yeah, I mean, it depends
mumbling
on
something.
Mumbling, more mumble, like the Home Alone guy. Like,
Joe Pesci.
Yes, I got Barnes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think that's Barnes'
it's always the first
laugh.
time for everything.
I like the Yankees winning.
So other than that, what do we got, fellas? Anybody else wants to add?
Let's go Mets, dude. That's all I got to say.
Gino?
I think I'm back in studio tomorrow, so let's do it.
Right. Looking forward to it.
Let's
Early
go,
show,
dude.
9 a.m., folks.
No way. You're making Gino drive down here for 9 a.m. or up here?
Well,
We have to.
Oh, yeah, dude?
Yeah.
You want to
we got some special stuff planned for tomorrow afternoon.
Lumber
night,
party.
Dude? Yeah, dude. We can watch Mortal Kombat together.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a dresser and everything now, too.
And one other thing here, I'm just curious, Mike, with the Knicks off tonight, I mean, what are you watching tonight?
Mortal Kombat.
We watched it last night.
Run it back?
No,
it wasn't really that.
It's not running back worthy.
Right.
As Jay showed when he was falling asleep through the movie.
That was Jay. Jay watched it. That was his running it back.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude. Past 9:30, he's asleep, bro. Yeah, no matter what you're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of out, I think that
we're out.
We are out. But thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Keep commenting, liking, subscribing. Peace.
Later.